Hi there, this is Self-Critical Automaton, and this is episode 10 of my Let's Play of Resident Evil 4. We'll be heading straight on into the next boss fight, which is the last boss fight of the first sort of major zone of the game.
You better stay outside. Ashley, go hide.
Yeah.
You can probably guess who it's going to be. Also, in case you were wondering why I hadn't healed up Ashley even though she's hurt, this is why. Like, she'll just hide the entire time and it's fine. I'm also still feeling extremely unwell, so I apologise for any coughing or spluttering. He moves very fast for such a big fellow. So one cool thing to note about the game's QTE sequences is that unlike most games, there's no penalty for pressing the wrong button, which means that if you know it's going to be either X and C or left click and right click, you can just press all of them and it'll be fine.
Hasta luego.
That's not really how petrol works, but sure. More like Hasta del Fuego, which I hope is a pun that works because I don't know enough Spanish. So yeah, at this point we learn the terrifying secret that Rasputin was a centipede all along. And yeah, at this point I basically just need to output as much damage as I can while avoiding his attacks, which is pretty easy so long as you just run backwards and forwards through this central area. You might notice that ladder at the back. That ladder is a very bad idea to climb, because if you do that, he actually has a one-hit kill attack that will just sweep your legs out from under you and chop you into bits. So instead of falling for that, I'm just gonna keep. Oh no, that's not what I want to do. Just gonna keep sprinting past him because he has those big attacks with the built-in like dodge possibility. So also he does not like that. So yeah, this part can be a bit slow as you just kind of hit him with enough DPS to eventually... Is it going to happen? No, it's not. That was a worryingly large amount of damage. Fortunately, I have an egg. So, Leon's gains once more maintained. Yeah. Just kind of going to keep plugging away at him until something happens eventually. The hitbox for those attacks is really small, so you can just walk out of the way, and frequently the dodge opportunity will pop up, even though you're completely out of his range. Like, your opportunity to dodge is actually larger than his ability to hit you. There we go. So in this stage he's got a lot more range, but he's also a lot more vulnerable to this. Or, well, I was hoping that would knock him down, but it didn't, so it's okay. Basically, it's easy to knock him on the floor and do a shitload of damage, but I'm going to be a bit more careful than I was in my practice. And, kind of pour as much damage into him as possible. It's generally a good idea to knock him down because he can do some powerful attacks from the ceiling, but he'll be dead soon enough. And he is a centipede rather than a millipede, in case you were wondering. You can tell because of the sort of shape and layout of his legs, you know, lots of legs sticking out to the side instead of like a million legs underneath. That's the term millipede, I suppose. There actually are a few more grenades lying around this place that I probably should go grab, but I think a couple more hits will do him in, so... Oh, hello again. My excellent friend. I'm running a little bit low on healing. I'm a bit worried. Oh, there we go. And it all worked out in the end. So yeah, the fight's generally easy enough that it's not worth running around grabbing all the conveniently located healing items and things, which is generally a good idea, because if you're lured up the ladder by the promise of several grenades, you will just get one-shotted by him. It is actually safe to head up there at certain points in his cycles, but for the most part, it's just not worth the risk. So yeah, I'm just going to run around and grab some of these. I can't think of a better pun than hasta la fuego, which is really terrible, especially considering I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know if it's good or bad. Still, I'm pretty sure fuego is fire. And yeah, there's a couple of important things to make sure I grab. This yellow herb, there's a green grenade around somewhere. Yep. Anyway, yeah, so he died as he lived, a centipede. There actually is another explosive barrel as well that you can shoot to get a bit more damage done during the fight, but I always forget it's there, so it's clearly not that important.
Are you okay, Leon?
Am I okay? I'm not sure, I just fought a giant centipede, how are you? So yeah, at this point there's just going to be a lot of running, so I will cut. And here we are, through the magic of editing, back up at the top of the cable car. So yeah, it's a pretty convoluted route that you take through this game, climbing essentially up the village, up a mountain, then taking a cable car back down the mountain to fight a guy. You know, if it's a fake eye, I kind of wonder why it is a retinal scanner. The point of a retinal scanner is to scan someone's actual, like, living eye. It's just a whole lot of weird inconsistencies. So, at this point, we're about to meet one of the major recurring antagonists in the game, actually. I can't remember if he's shown up. Actually, yes, he showed up once, right at the very beginning. It's our old friend, an enormous truck. So yeah, you may or may not recall, at the very beginning of the game, a truck kind of rammed the police car and knocked it into the ravine. It made exactly the same noise, so I think it's reasonable to assume it's the same truck. That was further away than I would have liked. So it's generally not worth feeding Ashley the healing items, no, the upgrades to health. Eventually Leon's own health gets completely filled, at which point you might as well give her the rest. But for the most part, oh, that's interesting, that guy did not become a tentacle monster. What about you? You a tentacle? So yeah, also there is a non-highlight reward over here for killing the truck. I think it's possible to dodge the truck by hiding in that little nook, but I've never tried it. And no, I actually wasn't joking. That truck's gonna come back like at least twice more over the course of this game. It really is a returning antagonist. And considering you kill the driver every single time, it really is the truck rather than a person driving the truck that is the antagonist. Which really amuses me. So yeah, that's it, we're done with the village. Next up, the castle.
On the other side of the bridge.
Yeah.
To be honest, the entire course of the narrative is essentially Leon and Ashley getting funneled into ever smaller locations.
You take that one.
Okay.
You go from about 30 square hectares of countryside to a big castle. You get just constantly chased into smaller and smaller zones.
Come on.
Yeah.
Although, considering the people in the castle and the Ganados themselves are both presumably working for the same, towards the same ends, and we will see they are infected with the same parasites and they follow the same leader. So I don't exactly see why them escaping into the castle is a problem. Although, of course, I don't speak Spanish, so maybe what that guy said was not, you know, oh no, they've escaped us and are now in the castle, but aha, we have led them exactly where we wanted them. Oh, a snake. The frustrating thing about that snake is that it's possible to be in range to break its box without also being in range to kill it, so... I like at this point it kind of just goes full, like, medieval RPG, like a fantasy RPG. You just open bright red treasure chests that are full of actual gold bars. So, at this point, we are going to get to upgrade to a whole bunch of new things, actually. And, yeah.
Welcome. Got some rare things on. What are you selling?
Just gotta get rid of all this stuff first.
Is that all? Is that all? Thank you.
In case you're wondering, the Velvet Blue is essentially the next tier up of valuable gem. So first I'm going to sell the rifle.
Is that all?
And
Thank you.
ages ago I said that we weren't going to get rid of the shotgun, but I lied. I forgot there was actually another good shotgun, so...
Thank you.
Luckily the upgrades do increase its value, so that money wasn't entirely wasted.
What are you buying? Is that all? Thank you.
First up, inventory upgrade,
Is
and
that all?
then the treasure map.
Thank you.
And then I'm going to ignore both the Punisher and the Blacktail. New handguns. I'm probably going to ignore the Magnum as well for now. I might pick it up later. But yeah, so
Is that
replacing the
all
shotgun
straight?
with the riot gun. Which I think is based on the Benelli M4. I'm not entirely sure.
Thank you.
And we're going to swap out
that
the rifle
all?
for the semi-automatic rifle, which is one of the only guns in the game that does not actually have a real-world gun that it is. So I'm also going to sell the... I should sell the stock
Thank you.
as well, I think. No, the stock is for the thing. I'm going to buy the semi-automatic scope, which is a different scope because they can't share the same one for some reason. And I'm going to grab another one of these.
What are you
So
selling?
then I'll just quickly sell this. Nope, I want that. Here we go, this one.
Is that all? Thank you. What are you buying?
And then it's time to get what upgrades we can. So the semi-automatic rifle is going to come in really handy in just a moment.
Thank
So
you.
gets all its upgrades.
Thank you.
And that's
Thank
everything
you.
I can afford, which is also everything except the upgrades for the Red 9, which is fine. So,
Come back anytime.
right, that extensive shopping session done. I'm just going to save real quick. And then we can head on further in. It is worth keeping Ashley's health topped up for the most part, because she can be hurt by most enemy types, or by you if you're not careful. There is a vaguely pleasing irony to just... I've been sent here by the President to rescue you, the President's daughter. Now hold still while I just murder you with a gun. One convenient thing about that mechanically, though, is that she will duck out of the way if you point a gun at her, so... Oh, I missed. That's frustrating. I'm normally good at headshots. So I guess those those guys will be coming around the corner in a moment. So in this area, there are actually 5 catapults, which will start firing at us any moment. Are you gonna... Nope, okay. And that's why the rifle is going to come in so handy. So it might seem like a good idea to leave Ashley behind while you run around dealing with these, but more of these monks will be appearing shortly and running up behind you, so if you're not careful, she'll get kidnapped. Fortunately, there's a lot of overhanging areas here, and as you may have seen in the corner of my vision, I guess you're seeing with my vision. Yeah, that makes sense. There's an entire fucking cannon here, so that's good to have. So yeah, having ignored the option of taking a hand cannon, I can just grab this actual for realsies giant goddamn exploding cannon. So each of these 5 catapults has 1 high priest guy and 1 loader guy. I think if you kill the loader, the high priest summons a new one, and if you kill the high priest, the loader will keep firing. However, you can just shoot the barrel and it destroys them both. So that's convenient. So, that said, it maybe is a good idea to not bring Ashley with you into an active fire zone, considering that that can happen. So alright, let's try that again, and this time I will be clever and leave her under covered areas. The very first shot they fire, you may have noticed, smashes a gazebo type thing, which seems like it's there to show the player that these projectiles can destroy masonry, and therefore you won't be safe underneath a roof. However, pretty much every other piece of masonry in this area is 100% protective. So, really, so long as you're not standing in that gazebo, you're fine. Gazebo is a good word. I like it. Alright, 4 left.
Wait.
I'll leave her here while I deal with this one. I think that's 3 left. So then there's this one, which I should just be able to get before the next shot, and then there's that one up there, which I think I can reach from over here. Or maybe not. So there actually is another guy behind me, but where is he? Strange. So yeah, this guy actually has a giant goddamn scythe like the Grim Reaper. Interestingly, unlike the villagers, even though he has that, he doesn't seem to be able to just summon infinite ones, so... Yeah, there really should be an ability to get rid of that. I'm not entirely sure why I can't. But let's just summon Ashley. Aha, there we go. So yeah, it only takes 1 hit to get rid of him, and then we're good. There's still 2 of these monks creeping up behind us, but we'll be okay. Now, I'm not any kind of a ducal Castellan engineer or anything, but I do have to ask, who thought it was a good idea to just install the cannons pointing inwards at the castle? Like, it's clearly able to traverse, so why... So, fair enough, you can move it around, but why would you just keep it as a matter of course pointing inwards? That seems absurd to me. Presumably someone with better knowledge of, like, late medieval cannonry will explain why in the comments. So yeah, the semi-automatic is a huge upgrade. It's extremely useful not to have to zoom out in between shots, and you don't get stuck in that lengthy bolt racking animation. But yeah, who just keeps a cannon primed and completely ready to fire, pointing inwards at their own gate? That seems like a huge security risk at the very least, as I have just proven. Oh, also worth noting, that that one guy with the Grim Reaper scythe and the big gold face helmet, those guys are immune to headshots. Just, you know, for future reference.
Some rare things on sale, stranger.
I like that he's somehow found some new things
What
to
are you
sell in
selling?
literally 2 minutes. It is things like this that lend credence to the idea that there might be more than one of him, because really, how could he possibly have gotten in here so fast? Unless he can teleport, you know, which is not beyond the scope of things that can happen in this game.
Is that all, stranger?
Actually, it kind of is.
Thank you.
So at least we've
What
got
are
plenty
you
of inventory
buying?
space now.
Not enough cash,
Oh,
stranger.
fair enough.
Not enough cash, stranger.
Okay, we'll do have enough for this one.
Is Thank you. Come back anytime.
Nice to see a new addition to his repertoire of dialogue. Anyway, there's not another save point for a minute or two, so I'm going to call that the end of this one, and then scurry back and save at the last one. And I will catch you next time. Bye!